It's Ivanyo! Never mind. Hi kids! Welcome to another episode of Disney Animation Reviews. I'm Josiah Milky, and we're about to enter some pretty rough waters on our Disney Animation Reviews. I'll explain why in a minute, but first, let's get some history out of the way. So the last animated Disney feature film was Treasure Planet, released Thanksgiving 2002, and if you saw my review of that one, you know that it got decently good reviews, but it didn't do so good at the box office. And even more disappointing was Disney Toon Films, Peter Pan and Return to Neverland, which came out earlier in 2002, and The Jungle Book 2, which came out after Treasure Planet in 2003. Both of those, despite mixed to negative reviews, did much better at the box office than Treasure Planet did. Some people just don't know quality films when they see them. Anyway, after Treasure Planet, there was some other good and not so good stuff from Disney in 2003. 2003 started off with the hit Disney Channel series That's So Raven. There were Disney Toon films in theaters, The Jungle Book 2 and Piglet's Big Movie. There was also, obviously, direct-to-video Disney films over the year, like 101 Dalmatians 2 and Stitch the Movie. In spring of 2003, they had live-action Disney films Holes, starring Even Stevens' Shia LaBeouf, and the Lizzie McGuire movie, which served as the conclusion for the series Lizzie McGuire, featuring Hilary Duff returning as the title character. Disney and Pixar had their first summer release, Finding Nemo, which came out at the end of May 2003. It was Pixar's biggest feature film hit at the box office, making over $860 million worldwide, and for about a year surpassing The Lion King as the highest-grossing animated feature film of all time. It also won Pixar their first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Later in the summer of 2003, they had The Curse of the Black Pearl, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Despite being Disney's first PG-13 rated feature film, it also did really well at the box office. In the fall of 2003, after Stitch the Movie, they started the Lilo and Stitch TV series, which I thought was pretty good. And then they had a couple of Disney theme park attractions that opened in the fall. Mission Space at Epcot, and one of my personal favorites, Mickey's PhilharMagic at the Magic Kingdom. The subject of today's review is Disney's 44th animated feature film, Brother Bear. This film was released on Saturday, November 1st, 2003, which seems kind of awkward because generally movies open in theaters on Wednesdays or Fridays. But when Brother Bear came out, first off, it was the last traditionally animated Disney feature and last animated Disney feature period after Mulan and Lilo and Stitch to be primarily animated at the Disney Animation Building at Disney MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios, theme park at Walt Disney World in Orlando, before they shut down in favor of computer animated features. Brother Bear, it did decently well at the box office. It definitely made more money at the American box office than Treasure Planet did, about $85 million, although that's still pretty low compared to what Nemo and Pirates of the Caribbean made. But the worldwide box office gross of about $250 million had it surpass every traditionally animated Disney feature from the 2000s up to that point, except Lilo and Stitch. Nothing to write home about, but still pretty good. The disappointing thing is the reviews it got. Brother Bear got mixed to negative reviews and only holds 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, at this point in the Disney Animated Features canon, is the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score a film from the canon has gotten since the 44% of Oliver and Company. Brother Bear was good enough to receive an Academy Award nomination for Best Animated Feature, but of course it lost to Finding Nemo. But is Brother Bear really that bad? I've seen it a few times myself. I watched it with my sister about a year ago or so, and I honestly don't have that many complaints about it. I can see why other people don't like it, but I feel like it deserves more credit than it gets. I'll explain why as I go along. So here's my thoughts on Brother Bear and why I think it deserves more better reception than people give it credit for. So at the start of the film, an Inuit narrator, who turns out to be an older version of Denahi, one of the three brothers in the film, voiced at the beginning and end as the narrator by the late Harold Gould. It's the story of three brothers. Kenai, voiced by Joaquin Phoenix. He's the younger brother and the protagonist of the film. The middle brother is Denahi, voiced by the late Jason Reyes, who played Simba in Lion King on Broadway. The oldest brother is Sitka, voiced by D.B. Sweeney, the voice of Aladar in Dinosaur. Kenai is super excited on one day because it's a manhood ceremony to show Kenai becoming a man. This is where he gets his totem to figure out how he's going to live his life. We see the brothers hunting and fishing together while the tribe prepares for the ceremony in a song called Great Spirits. The songs in Brother Bear, I don't typically talk about the music this early, but I'll go ahead and talk about it now. The songs in Brother Bear are by Phil Collins, who also did the songs for Tarzan, with Collins also doing the score this time, alongside Mark Mancina, who did the score for Tarzan. Not all the songs in Brother Bear fire on all cylinders, but Great Spirits I kind of like, because it's like the circle of life of this era of Disney feature animation. My friend Rachel Wagner thinks that Tina Turner singing the song is mishap, and that they should have gone with somebody that sounded Native American or Inuit to sing it, like they had real-life Native Americans to voice characters in Pocahontas, but I don't mind Tina Turner that much. So at the ceremony, Tanana, the village Shaw woman, voiced by Joan Copeland, gives Tiana his totem, Love, in the form of a bear. This, of course, upsets Kenai to no end, as he doesn't think bears love anyone, they're just vicious monsters. He and Denahi end up going after a bear that stole their fish, and they're nearly killed, but Sitka sacrifices himself to save them from the bear. However, Kenai believes it wasn't right for Sitka to kill himself just to save them, so Kenai goes after the bear and kills it, but as punishment, the Great Spirits, including Sitka, who's now an eagle, transform Kenai into a bear. And now he has to learn the ways of a bear on his way back to the mountains where the lights touch the earth. That's where the Great Spirits are. And only there can he ask Sitka to make him human again. But to get there, he must team up with a talkative bear cub named Coda to get back there, as Coda hangs out with a lot of other bears near a river where the mountain is. They also occasionally get joined by a pair of hilarious moose brothers, Rut and Took, voiced by Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, basically doing moose versions of their characters, the Mackenzie brothers from Second City TV. Brother Bear is a road trip movie, as you'll tell by watching the film, and of course we've seen numerous road trip movies over the years. Kenai is, my friend Rachel Wagner doesn't really like Kenai. She thinks he's too dislikable a protagonist, and it does take him a while to smile, but I did see him smile quite a few times in the movie, just not as much as Rachel would like to see. She also complains that Coda is too talkative of a co-star, and he's the last guy you'd want on a road trip, but I think he's kind of cute. You find out that Coda's been separated from his mom, which, actually, if you watch the movie several times and go back to when Kenai killed that bear that got Sitka killed, you might start to realize that the bear Kenai killed and Coda's mom could be one and the same, but I don't want to spoil it for what really happens until you see the movie yourself. The voice of Coda, in case anyone's interested, is Jeremy Suarez, because they loved his audition tapes for Finding Nemo. The Moose Brothers I didn't think were needed for the story, but they're kind of funny. I do like Rick Moranis as an actor, so... a little bit about the production story. Originally, back after Lion King came out, Michael Eisner said, Lion King was such a success, let's do another movie about animals in the wild, suggesting North America as the setting for the next one, and it was going to be a movie about bears, which then led the gang to take research trips to Alaska and other wild places to study wildlife in North America. Initially, Kenai's tag-along was an older bear named Grizz, voiced by the late Michael Clark Duncan, but after a while they decided it wasn't working and he became Koda, and Michael Clark Duncan ended up getting another role as Tug, the big old bear from the Salmon Run. The songs in Brother Bear are nothing to write home about. There are some good songs. I like the Great Spirit song. There's the road trip song On My Way, and Welcome when they actually get to the Salmon Run. Welcome was performed by Phil Collins and the Blind Boys of Alabama. And then there's the end credits song Phil sings, Look Through My Eyes. All those songs are pretty good. I'd say the Transformation song and the sad song, No Way Out, those probably didn't need to be in the film, so if it were me, I would have probably just taken those out. Pretty good voice cast. I know some people, like Rachel, will complain that Kenai isn't that likable a protagonist. The Moose Brothers were unnecessary. The humor falls flat, and some of the music isn't that great. But I really don't think Brother Bear is as bad as people say it is. I think the 38% on Rotten Tomatoes is maybe a little too harsh, and if it was me, I would have put it in the 50 or 60 percentile range. So, give Brother Bear a shot. I say give Brother Bear a shot, and then decide if you don't like it. So, even though Brother Bear wasn't that successful at the box office, it was successful enough to warrant a direct-to-video sequel, Brother Bear 2, released at the end of August 2006. Spoiler alert ahead, so turn this off if you haven't seen the first movie yet. Kenai ultimately decides to remain a bear and look after Koda, but one day he comes across Nita, a childhood friend of his. Nita is about to get married, but an amulet that Kenai gave her as a little girl bonds them as one, and they have to go and burn it at a waterfall where he first gave it to her. Fearing separation from Koda, when Nita says if he doesn't help, she'll have the Great Spirits turn him human again, Kenai reluctantly agrees to help Nita, but along the way, they start to fall in love with each other, leaving Koda lost in the shuffle and jealous of their new relationship. At the same time, the Moose Brothers, Rhett and Took, are trying to impress a pair of moosettes. That's female moose. Brother Bear 2 fares a little better than the original movie. In fact, it has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than the first one. The only other time that's happened at Disney is when an extremely goofy movie had a slightly higher Rotten Tomatoes score than the original Goofy movie. Most of the original voice cast is back for characters that come back. The only one that was recast was Kenai, who's now voiced by Patrick Dempsey from Grey's Anatomy. Mandy Moore is the voice of Nita. This was about 4 years before she starred as the voice of Rapunzel in Tangled. She's pretty good. They've also got voice talent like Wanda Sykes as Nita's village Shaw woman. Wanda Sykes is pretty funny. And as the Moosettes, they have some other Second City actors, Andrea Martin and Catherine O'Hara. Along with Joaquin Phoenix being absent as the voice of Kenai, another notable absentee is Phil Collins on the songs. This time the songs are by Melissa Etheridge, and they're not at all as good as the songs in the first movie. I hardly even remember what they're called. So, the songs are kind of weak, and Kenai getting recast is a bit of a problem, but Brother Bear 2 is a worthy follow-up to the original, even if the original is not that great. Brother Bear's latest home video release was its Toonly Collection Blu-ray debut in spring of 2013 with Brother Bear 2, opposite the Toonly Collection Blu-ray debuts of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Mulan films. Bonus features include deleted scenes, audio commentary with Rhett and Took, outtakes, a 45-minute behind-the-scenes feature, music videos, a deleted song, a Phil Collins music video, and more. And the only bonus feature pertaining to the sequel is a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the music for the sequel. The Blu-ray is also a combo pack that includes disc 1 of the original 2004 DVD copy of the original film and the original 2006 DVD copy of the sequel, which means in addition to bonus features from the Blu-ray, we also get some games that are missing from the Blu-ray. So that's my thoughts on Brother Bear. I honestly don't get why this movie hasn't gotten a better critical reception. It's not perfect. It feels like a ripoff of Lion King and Blue Sky's Ice Age when you look at the different elements from those films and compare them to this film. But I do think Brother Bear is worth checking out at least once, just so you can see for sure whether you like it or not. Well, we're out of time for today. So remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Goodbye!